Alright everyone, it's time for a consolation prize video because that's exactly what the cringe fringe far left has gotten yet again, and this has happened like 5 or 6 times already under Biden. That's a good thing. I mean, I approve of this because it's better than the alternative, which is giving in to the Marxist crowd. But that being said, it is opportunistic. It is a deflection and it is a grift. I'll get into why, but first and foremost, down below, there will be a pinned comment if you're watching this video on YouTube with links to 4 other video hosting sites that I use: BitChute, Dailymotion, Odyssey, and Rumble. Keep in mind, I make 4 videos every day. Only 2 of them are on YouTube because of algorithms, because I cover edgy topics that are now verboten on mainline tech and so forth. So new tech is the place to be if you want 100% of your daily nutritional value of clank. Anyway, you've now got a Juneteenth holiday celebrating the end of slavery in the United States. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's commendable. Ending slavery was a good thing. Never should have existed in the first place, but, you know, better late than never. A century later than many European countries, by the way, admittedly so. So that's fine. I mean, it's pointless. Here's what the left was promised by Beijing Biden and the other Democrats when they were running, especially people like Warren. Warren was the biggest, I will give you whatever you want, Democrat, without being really progressive. And of course, progressive in the modern parlance doesn't mean progress. It really means regressing back to the 19th century. That being said, or in some cases the 17th. That being said, they were promised, for example, no more guns. Biden is going to really crack down on firearms. Instead, what you got was a new proposal where before he said, I'm going to ban these uber scary AR-15, these assault rifle 15 weapons, because you don't need one. Come on, man. Corn Pop has an Armalite rifle and stuff like that. This was 180'd as soon as Beijing Biden got fortified into that, asterisk position. And now it's, oh, well, we're going to tax them. We're going to tax the assault rifles. You were promised universal pre-K. It's going nowhere. You were promised, I mean, this is what the left was promised. They were promised reparations, and instead they get Juneteenth. This is the grift. The left was promised that racial justice under the Democrats was good, and of course it wouldn't be justice, but this is what they were promised. This is what the Democrats proposed to the cringe fringe. Vote for us and we'll give you reparations. We'll give you thousands of free dollars on the color of your skin. We're going to give restaurants a bailout. We're going to make part of that racially based. We're going to have racially based dispensations to farmers, based on them being a so-called person of color, literally a racist term from the 50s, but okay. Just switch the words around slightly and you end up with colored people. But the Democrats, of course, they like their little jokes. They were promised all these things. They've gotten none of them. The restaurant bill was shot down by the courts. That's not going to be coming back. The farm bill has been put on hold. It will probably be shot down. I can't imagine that it's going to pass muster. How can it pass the smell test when the restaurant grant bill didn't? Well, it can't. It's going to be shot down. It'd end up before SCOTUS, so it'll never happen. You're not getting reparations. You didn't even get a full stimulus, and that was across the board. So essentially, under Joe Biden, everything that's been promised to the Marxists has not been actually followed through with. Again, this is not a problem. This is a virtue. This is one of the few things Biden's doing right, is promising these people things but then not giving it to them. But the problem is, for the Democrats, coming up in the midterms especially, we're going to have lower enthusiasm anyway. You've done this before, and in the era of the internet, it's not like in the TV era. In the TV era, the Democrats could promise X, Y, and Z, kind of deliver on Z and ignore the other two, and they would be forgiven for it because each election they would just say, look, the other guys are more scary. The problem is that you've got a burgeoning left that no longer takes that bait, and I think that a lot of them have really had it with the Democrats. Like you look at all the grift leftists on YouTube or elsewhere online. They all held their nose and encouraged everyone, vote for Joe Biden because Orange Man is a fascist and stupid, shit like that. It's not true, but that's what they told them. The amount of buyer's remorse there is pretty sheer because Biden hasn't done any of the things that he promised to the leftists. Name a single thing he followed through on. No, the first thing he does when he's in office is cancel sanctions on Russia's Nord Stream gas pipeline, go after the U.S. energy sector, make a fool of himself at G7, and ignore the border crisis. That's what Biden has done. He's a loser. With this, Juneteenth is a meaningless consolation prize. Okay, we're going to have racial justice now. Once a year, we're going to remind people of the Tulsa massacre. How the fuck is that doing anything meaningful for anybody? All it is another day that people have off from work. Wonderful. And I'll have to make it up at some other point in the year, probably. It's meaningless. It's a consolation prize. See, it's meaningless because it's very, very easy for the government to do that. It would be impossible for them to give, like, reparations or something. But the left wanted them to. Millions and millions of people voted for Joe Biden thinking that he was going to actually stay on the left. Unlike every other Democratic president since Carter, he's actually going to be a leftist president. He never was. They were warned for over a year. People like me warned these individuals. Biden is never going to be that kind of president. It simply, structurally, organically cannot happen. He's never been on the left. If anything, he's more of a Manchin Democrat, but he's come towards that side because he has to deal with a dysfunctional neoliberal party that by and large continues to wine and dine the same Marxists that then twist the knife on once it's elected. You're not going to get your reparations. You'll get Juneteenth. This will happen again, by the way. All of those things. You're not going to get universal pre-K. You'll get like a subsidy for the very poorest for part-time pre-K classes or something. And Warren will end up voting for it, and then you'll be flummoxed about why that happened before cracking open a goddamn U.S. history textbook. You're not going to get meaningful gun control. You'll get marginal increases in attempts to control certain peripheral items like pistol braces by Biden's lunatic ATF, which won't even stand up in the courts. They'll be tossed out, just like the bump stock ban was. That's a guarantee. Because the federal court system especially has been completely overhauled by Trump appointees. You do realize that Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump, the biggest victory technically they had was stacking the federal court system. They turned the Ninth Circuit. Well, you're not going to have a lot of pro-Biden decisions with regards to all this gun control that these people mysteriously keep wanting. It's just not going to happen. There aren't going to be enough vacancies to turn it in the other direction for the next decade, dude. By the way, I think this is a good thing. This is why I want another term of Trump. This is just grift leftism. This is NIMBYism, almost. This is craptivism. Craptivism is you pay somebody else to plant trees because you're too lazy to do it, but you claim to be interested in the environment. You claim that climate change is going to kill us all, but yet you drive an SUV. It's stupidity. It's being a moron. It's being a hypocrite. It's very, very funny as well from the outside looking in. Those are the craptivists. This is craptivism. This is doing something meaningless, identifying a problem and doing something that is completely symbolic and does nothing for that. If anything, it just continues the racial grift line getting kicked can style down the road even further as it festers as a social issue. We've had billions and billions in riot damage over the last year. We've had dozens of lives lost. We now have a Fentanyl Floyd statue. I notice nobody's clamoring to build one of Sequoia Turner. This sort of thing is not going to make that problem go away. The problem of the Democrats openly cheering for criminals and keeping the race baiting going in order to crack people apart to get 51% of the votes in every election, that is still a problem. This isn't going to help. By the way, it was virtually unanimous. I think it was unanimous in the Senate. Or wasn't there one holdout, I think? And it's on the people that held out, it's on the basis of we don't need another holiday, basically. They're trying to cast that as, well, I guess the Republican Party loves slavery. That's just because it's stupid. There's no point to this. If you want racial justice, then stop pitting people against one another. But that's not going to happen, because that's not how politics works. That's about all. Peace out.